Have you ever met someone and suddenly your brain completely betrays you? Like, you don't even know their favorite color, but somehow they've taken over your thoughts. You replay conversations. Their name makes your heart jump, and you catch yourself smiling at literally nothing. If that's ever happened to you, pause this video right now and hit like because you're about to understand exactly why your mind does this. And trust me, by the end of this video, you'll know whether what you're feeling is real connection or just your nervous system running the show. Welcome back to SOHAG'S Tutorials, where we break down psychology in a way that actually makes sense. What lust really is, and why it's not your fault. Let's get something straight first. Lust isn't weakness, it isn't desperation, and it definitely isn't something to feel ashamed of. Lust is your brain responding to novelty, attraction, and possibility. It's biology, it's chemistry, and yes, it can be intoxicating. But here's the problem. Lust doesn't show up all at once. It moves through stages, and when you don't recognize the stage you're in, you might mistake intensity for love, or obsession for compatibility. So let's walk through the 4 psychological stages of lust, and how to know if you're building something real or just getting pulled by your emotions. Stage 1. Initial attraction. This is the moment it starts. You notice them. Maybe it's their eyes, the way they talk, the way they carry themselves, or sometimes there's no logical reason at all. Your brain just goes, yep, them. And here's the wild part. Your body reacts before your mind does. Your heart rate changes. You feel more alert, more energized. Your focus narrows. Psychologically, this happens because your brain has identified something rewarding or novel. And novelty is addictive. But attraction is not information. It's a signal. It doesn't tell you if they're emotionally safe, if they respect boundaries, if they're compatible with you. It only tells you one thing. I want to move closer. A powerful question to ask yourself in this stage is, am I attracted to who this person actually is or who I imagine them to be? Because very often, attraction isn't about the person, it's about the story your mind starts writing. Stage 2. Infatuation. If attraction is the spark, infatuation is the fire. This is where things start getting intense. You reread messages, you replay conversations, you analyze tone, emojis, timing, like your brain just joined the FBI. A fast reply feels euphoric, a slow reply feels personal, and suddenly, your mood depends on their attention. Neurologically, this stage is driven by dopamine, the same chemical involved in addiction and reward-seeking behavior. Your brain becomes hooked on uncertainty, anticipation. What if? And because you don't fully know this person yet, your mind fills in the gaps. You assume their intentions. You idealize their personality. You project qualities onto them they may not actually have. So now, you're not just attracted to them. You're attached to a version of them your mind created. Half real, half fantasy. And that's where infatuation becomes dangerous, because you're falling for potential, not patterns. Stage 3. Climax. This is where lust stops whispering and starts shouting. At this stage, desire is no longer subtle. It's emotional, it's physical, and it's loud. Your thoughts revolve around them. Your body reacts before your logic can intervene. You feel a strong urge to secure their attention, their validation, their presence. Psychologically, this is when emotional attachment and physical desire collide. And here's the uncomfortable truth. This is the stage where people abandon their own boundaries. You might ignore red flags you'd normally walk away from, excuse behavior that makes you uncomfortable, lower standards you once promised yourself you'd never compromise. Why? Because your brain isn't thinking about the future anymore. It's thinking about relief. Relief from uncertainty, relief from longing, relief from not knowing where you stand. So you chase clarity through closeness. You chase reassurance through attention. You chase safety through intensity. And if the connection is mutual, consistent, and emotionally available, this stage can feel thrilling, affirming, and bonding. But if the other person is hot and cold, emotionally unavailable, or inconsistent, this stage becomes emotionally destabilizing. Why this stage feels addictive. Here's what most people don't realize. The brain doesn't just bond to pleasure, it bonds stronger to unpredictability. When affection is inconsistent, the nervous system stays activated. You become hyper-aware, hyper-attached, hyper-invested. That's why you might feel anxious when they pull away, euphoric when they come back, emotionally exhausted but unable to detach. This isn't love. It's your nervous system stuck in a loop of hoping, a loop of waiting, a loop of maybe this time. And the scariest part? From the inside, it feels meaningful. From the outside, it looks like self-abandonment. Where people lose themselves at the climax stage, many people stop asking, is this good for me? And start asking, how do I keep them? You might notice yourself over-explaining, over-giving, overthinking, over-accommodating. Your needs get quieter, their reactions get louder, and slowly, your emotional center shifts from self-trust to external validation. That's why this question matters more than anything else at this stage. Am I choosing this person, or am I reacting to the intensity of wanting them? Because intensity can feel like destiny, but intensity alone doesn't build safety. If you've ever ignored your intuition because the chemistry felt too strong, tap like right now. And if this stage feels familiar, drop a comment saying, "Been there." You'll be surprised how many people understand exactly what you're feeling. The turning point. Here's the thing. This stage cannot last forever. Eventually, the adrenaline fades, the fantasy cracks, the nervous system calms, and when that happens, something powerful shows up. Clarity. And that's where everything changes. Stage 4. Clarity. This is the moment the fog lifts. The chemical rush settles. The constant adrenaline quiets down. And for the first time, you're able to see the person clearly, without the fantasy filter. This stage doesn't arrive loudly. It arrives calmly. You start noticing things you brushed past before, how they communicate when something goes wrong, how they respond when you express a need, whether their actions consistently match their words, whether you feel emotionally safe or emotionally tense around them. Psychologically, this is when the brain shifts out of survival mode and back into evaluation mode, and lust has two possible endings here. Outcome 1. Disappointment. For some connections, clarity hurts. You realize the attraction was real, but the compatibility wasn't. You weren't craving them. You were craving the feeling they activated in you. And once that feeling fades, there's not much left to hold on to. This doesn't mean you were wrong. It doesn't mean you imagined everything. It simply means lust did its job, and then stepped aside. Letting go at this stage isn't failure, it's emotional maturity. Outcome 2. Transformation. For other connections, clarity brings something deeper. The attraction remains, but now it's grounded. You don't feel anxious around them. You don't feel like you're performing. You don't feel like you're chasing. You feel regulated, seen, respected. This is where lust evolves into something sustainable. Not because the intensity stayed high, but because the connection stayed steady. And that's the difference most people miss. The core difference that changes everything. Lust pulls you in with intensity. Clarity asks you to make a choice. Intensity says, "I need this feeling." Clarity asks, "Does this person support my well-being?" And when you learn to tell the difference, you stop confusing emotional highs with emotional safety. You stop chasing people who destabilize you. You stop romanticizing inconsistency. You stop mistaking anxiety for passion. Instead, you choose connections that feel exciting and secure. Why understanding lust empowers you. Understanding lust doesn't mean suppressing desire. It doesn't mean becoming cold or guarded. It means awareness. It means knowing. When your nervous system is activated, when your mind is filling in gaps, when intensity is clouding judgment and awareness gives you power, the power to pause, the power to choose, the power to build relationships that don't cost you your peace. So ask yourself honestly, have you noticed yourself moving through these stages before? Or maybe you realized you stayed stuck in one longer than you should have? There's no shame in that. Everyone experiences lust, but not everyone understands it. And understanding is what turns emotional chaos into emotional clarity. If this video helped you see your experiences differently, like this video. It tells the algorithm this kind of psychology actually matters. If someone came to mind while watching this, share it with them. It might give them clarity they didn't know they needed. And I really want to hear from you. Which stage surprised you the most? Drop it in the comments. I read every single one. For more real, grounded psychology that actually applies to your life, subscribe to SOHAG'S tutorials and turn on notifications. Take care of your mind, protect your emotional energy.